It's a good day. It's a good day. Amen. It's St. Patrick's Day, huh? How about that? Uh, our youngest was born on St. Patrick's Day. If you don't know her, she's a 6 foot elf. She really is quite the elf some days still. Uh, and so I think I've told Aubrey before, but some of you may not know. So her name is Aubrey. We have two Aubreys. And leader of the elves is what it means, which explains some things. Explains a lot of things. So I remember one of her first Easters, I guess. She uh, she really didn't understand the whole theory. She had the egg hunt, and so she had a little basket and had a little hat, and Teresa had her all cute, and she picked up an egg and sat down and opened it and ate the candy and was very happy. Which is a pretty good illustration for most of us, isn't it? We run around like crazy and frantic trying to grab all these eggs. She got an egg and she ate it, and it was a good day. Sometimes we forget to live while we're living, don't we? Just thought I'd throw that in there, extra credit there. So we're continuing with this financial series about being free financially, financial health. Pastor Eric got us started on this. Last time I dealt with choices. It's a very practical series. Um, I don't know that I ever had a financial sermon, though I have found that over the years that I would think I never had something from a pastor, and then I'd remember I did. I just didn't pay attention when I was younger. So usually it's about, you know, being good with your finances. Don't forget to return the blessing back to God to use to others. But there's a sense that we have the opportunity and responsibility to use the talents and gifts and whatever God has given us, blessed us with, to take care of not only our families but others. And the more we do that well, the more we can bless others. And sometimes they're tough, and you help others that have it tougher, and sometimes they're extra. And so there's this sense of taking care of each other that just permeates the Scripture. And so it's very biblical. It just seems like it doesn't sound as deep. But it's funny, people love to hear the Greek word in Hebrew and go deep and all this, but nobody likes to actually apply it to your life on Monday most of the time, like forgiveness or something, right? So that's what we're doing. And so last time we talked about choices, and you can just run those up there. We compared Adam and Eve versus the ant. And I'll show you our conclusion slide, the next one. And so Adam and Eve, they had some choices. They had temptation, don't we all? They fell to temptation. They blamed each other, blamed the snake, and there are consequences. There are consequences for everything we do, right? The ant, on the other hand, the wiser one, had self-initiative, worked, put away food while you could get it, and had a plan. It's just intrinsic to being an ant. And we actually took a look at that. And we all have to do that. For some of us, self-initiative, work, planning comes easy. Just, you got the touch, you got the discipline, you get $10, and in 3 months, you still got $10. You might even have $12. Some folks just come by that. Others, you get $10, and next week, you got $0. And so you got to have a plan. It may be easy for you. It may be hard for you. That you still got to do it. I mean, you got to take care of your budget. You can't overspend. You got to look at what you're doing. And if it's super hard for you, or maybe you just can't, well, it doesn't change your responsibilities and consequences. What needs to change is you need a different plan. Maybe you need an accountability partner, somebody to help you out, somebody to say do this or that. We had a 30-year home note. And some, finances a number of years ago had gotten better, and I was able to get 3.25 and got 15 years. Now, why did we go with 15 years? Because we hadn't had the home that long, so we still had a lot of note left. Well, I knew the theory where you could pay like an extra payment a month and do all that, and you could pay it down. And I thought, I know you can do that, but I'm not that disciplined. I want someone to force me to pay this thing off in half the time. So I got a 15-year note. And then after 13, we were able to just finish it. So I knew I have a managed account for my retirement. Why? because I don't know that much about it. And I got a master's in finance, folks, and I still don't. And I'm not going to take the time every day to pay attention to the markets and stuff. I just know I won't. Even if I wanted to, I just know I won't. So someone helps me. That's part of my plan. Okay? Teresa's the type that she naturally plans, but she also thinks about it all the time. So if she was doing that, she would never let it go. You just got to find your way as you work through just how you take care of things that need to be taken care of. So, choices, wants, and then our hearts. What do you really want? Most of our greed and what we want when we get out of balance is because our heart's messed up. Get with God. Get it together. You got an egg? It had candy in it. Sit down and enjoy that candy. Okay? You get 30 more that your parents aren't going to let you eat today. Enjoy it. You had a piece of candy. So today, we're going to talk about theft, thieves. In the Ten Commandments, I'm going to review them. There's one on not stealing. So in Exodus 20, and you should know that one as you walk along with Christ and you get to know your Bible, if I say 10 Commandments, you should say Exodus 20. Well, how are you going to remember Exodus 20? Well, it's not in Genesis, it's in Exodus because, they got to get out of slavery, Exodus. And just double the 10. 10 Commandments, 20. Maybe they'll help you remember. Exodus 20. Or just remember Exodus 20. But anyway, so as I go through these commandments here, I'll just kind of read through them, and we're just going to summarize. We're going to land on number 8. So, I'm the Lord your God. I'm the guy who can tell you to do this. I'm the one who brought you out of slavery. Here are the rules. Number 1, you will have no other gods before me. Number 2, you will not make images. You will not make idols and bow down to things beside me. Number 3, remember the Sabbath. You work 6 days, you take off 1. Number 4, hey, didn't know where I'm at right now. Let's see. I don't know where I'm at right now. Remember the Sabbath. Don't misuse the name of your God. I'm sorry. Number 3, and then number 4. Number 5, honor your father and mother. That one has a blessing, so life will go long. And remember, they were still in a family clan kind of system, so this is especially important. Okay, because they're still living in group environments with families usually. Number 6, you shall not murder. Don't steal a life. Number 7, you shall not commit adultery. Don't steal someone else's spouse. Number 8, you shall not steal. Don't steal somebody else's stuff. Number 9, don't lie against your neighbor. Give false testimony. And a lot of that would be in a court setting. Lie about a neighbor because you wanted to steal their stuff or wanted to set them up for something, usually some kind of intrigue going on. And number 10, don't covet your neighbor's stuff, their house, their wife, their male or female servants, ox, donkey, anything else. So greed is a big part of what's going on here. Don't be so greedy. Watch your heart. Theft. Lots of theft in the Old Testament. I've said this before. When we have rules and laws here in Texas, usually we make a law because it's something society thinks you shouldn't do, but people do it. And it's not illegal till you make a law. Okay? It can be wrong, but it's not illegal till it's a law. Well, these are laws. God set them up early. People already knew you shouldn't take lives and take someone else's spouse or steal somebody's stuff. And God is formalizing this, making it into the law. There was lots of theft and crime in the ancient Near East. Well done, buddy. Lots of theft and crime. And theft in the ancient Near East could very much be a death sentence. Okay? There was no Walmart. There's no Salvation Army or Goodwill. There's nowhere you're going to get help. You raised food for the year, or you killed it and prepared it, or your crops or your sheep, or you made something and you bartered for it. And so whatever you made for food you had saved aside for the winter, or for commerce to barter, you had it or you didn't have it. If someone took it, you and your family will die unless someone helps you out. So it was a serious thing. And people stole all the time. It was a tough time to be alive. There were kingdoms and regions and nations and wealthy and thieves and powerful, and they all imposed their will for what they wanted. And they'd use force or theft and killing, and it was a difficult time to live. So theft could be a death sentence. In Nehemiah 4, we come to the next part we're going to talk about. And in this part, it's about rebuilding the wall. So kind of hold on that slide. And so how do you find passages about look out for thieves? Look out for how dangerous life is. Watch out for the evil ones that are after you. Well, I'm kind of showing you through some of this. Here's another example. So the Hebrew people have come out of slavery, and now they want to rebuild the wall. And so they go to Jerusalem to rebuild the city. But why do you do the wall first? Because the ancient Near East is a very dangerous environment. You could rebuild your temple and your house, but people would just come in and take your stuff and your people and your children and kill you and whatever they want. So why did they put walls around cities? Because it's easier to protect your city if you got a big wall you can stand on and behind. And these walls, they were not like we think of your neighborhood fence. They were wide. Inside them were storage rooms you could get into from the inside, and you could walk along it. And so these are massive stone walls that they would mount guards on and protect, and then you had your gates, and so guard the entry points, and it's easy to stop people that only have swords and bows and spears and rocks from climbing up and over. It's easier if you're up on top of the wall. It's the basic principle you would think of the ancients. So they need to rebuild the wall. In Nehemiah 4, 13 through 16, and we'll take a look. So as they get there, it's become dangerous. The ruling groups in the area don't want them to rebuild. They don't want the Hebrews to be strong because they don't want them to take over more and more of the promised land. So they don't want this to happen. And they're grouping together. Enemies are grouping together for the common cause of stopping the Hebrew people from rebuilding. And so they find out about this, and it's getting dangerous, and they're going to be attacked, or being attacked. And so from that day on, Nehemiah said, half of my men did the work, while the other half were equipped with spears, shields, bows, and armor. The officers posted themselves behind all the people of Judah who were building the wall. Hold on that. So what they did was they split their work groups, and they had, so here's say this is the city of Jerusalem. And they took the families, all right, the tribes, the families, and they put them in areas of the wall that needed rebuilding. The whole wall wasn't destroyed. I mean, these are massive, and it's all the way around. So what had happened was the gates were destroyed, sections had been torn down so you could enter, and people had used the stone for different things they were building. And so they put them at the gates and the places where the walls needed to be rebuilt and reinforced. And now, as they're working, half would work, the other half would be armed protection. And you hope that armed protection would keep the enemy from trying it. But if they do, your officers are standing behind you. Now, this spears, shields, bows, and armor. People have a lot of arguments nowadays of whether Christians should have spears, shields, bows, and armor. Not really, do they? Usually it's pistols and rifles, right? Guns. From my perspective, being around weapons for a long time as a police officer, the spear would be the shotgun. The bow would be the rifle. A sword would be a pistol. I mean, if I was translating this like the New Living Kenny translation. So they're trying to protect themselves. Go to the next slide. Those who carried materials did their work with one hand, carried the bucket with the rocks in it or whatever they used for mortar, and held a weapon in the other. And each of the builders wore his sword at his side while he worked. It was a dangerous time. People wanted to stop them, to steal their lives, to stop them from rebuilding. Next slide. But the man who sounded the trumpet stayed with me. This is Nehemiah. Trumpet stayed with me. This is Nehemiah, so he's in charge. And I said to the nobles, the officials, and the rest of the people, these are the people in charge of the groups. The work is extensive and it's all spread out. And we are widely separated from each other, alone along the wall. Now type alone. Whenever you hear the sound of the trumpet, join us there. Our God will fight for us. So when they blew the trumpet, everybody rushed to where they were being attacked so they can defend the weak spot where the enemy's trying to get to them, okay? And God will fight with us. Now, the God will fight, they're still having to fight. Even when they came into the promised land, they had to fight, and people died, and people got hurt, and you lost family members. And that was part of that rugged, brutal, ancient Near East. So even when God fights for you, it doesn't mean there's not effort and risk involved, even when you're following God's will. And someday, our fight is over, and I'll be in heaven. But until then, it's dangerous down here. So I'm just kind of describing that we still live in a dangerous world. It's not hidden in the Scripture. It's not unbiblical to recognize that there's evil. People want to steal, want to hurt you, want to take stuff. So I don't even know what my next slide is. Let's take a look. We'll both be surprised. All right, we're going to go to the city of the 12, all right? So before I jump up, okay, we'll just go there. So Jesus, early in his ministry with the 12, the apostles, he sends them out on their first missionary trip to talk about Jesus. He's the Messiah. He's here. It's the gospel, the good news of Jesus Christ's mission. And he tells them, I'm sending you out like sheep among wolves. Now, he's going to protect them and take care of them. He's with them, okay? There's this miraculous time where they're going to be safe while they're doing it, because he's overriding the evil in a special way, okay? Sometimes good things happen because God made it happen. Sometimes it's so remarkable we call it miraculous, all right? So I'm sending out, therefore be shrewd as snakes and innocent as doves, all right? Be shrewd as snakes, as innocent as doves. And I'm going to summarize it this way. I think I put it on a little list on the next slide. It's a dangerous world. It's still dangerous. We're constantly under threat. And again, well, what's he, paranoid? You're not paranoid if people are after you. Just saying. Somebody is trying to get your credit right now. Somebody's trying to use your name to buy something right now. I'll guarantee you. In my years of police work, I've investigated any kind of crime you can think of, but mostly for 15 years it's been fraud. People want to steal your stuff. And if you're old and they take all your savings and that's all you had to finish living on, they don't care. And nobody can get it back. That's the evil that's still out there. So pay attention. You can protect yourself if you're paying attention. And, based on that, be shrewd as a snake, as innocent as a dove. Be wise, be smart, be savvy. So that's going to be our little saying right now. Pay attention. Be wise, be smart, be savvy. Now, later, right before Jesus is about to go to the cross and resurrection, there's another passage that Christians they don't like it, especially theologians. They really, really don't like this passage. And we're going to look at it from the eyes of a police officer pastor. So let's go to the next one. Luke 22, 35, 36. He's going to send them out again. He says, look, basically he's telling them, I'm going to die. You don't understand what's going to happen. And you're going to go out. You're going to be on mission for the gospel the rest of your life. But when I send you out remember when I sent you out without a purse, bag, sandals? Did you lack anything? Nothing. Worked great. Next slide. Now, if you have a purse, take it. You might need some money. If you have a bag, change of clothes or something, take it. And if you don't have a sword, sell your cloak and buy one. This is where theologians and Bible scholars lose their minds. Because there's no way Jesus said buy a gun. I'm sorry, sword. I'm just saying it, right? What? He's not going to override the evil. We're going to exist in it, and we need to pay attention. It's a dangerous world out there. Oh, you read some of my favorite theologians, all-time favorite, who are amazing, will say things like, well, he didn't really mean a sword. He meant it's really dangerous. He meant use all your wisdom like a sword. I think he really meant a sword. But we have two. They're not getting it yet. They go, oh, yeah, that's fine. Well, see, he said that's fine. They're not going to get it till he dies and raises again. And they're going to die, except for John. He got to live in the old age in exile for the witness of Christ. When you traveled in the ancient Near East, you didn't walk around by yourself. What, are you out of your mind when you go from one village to another? You're going to get attacked on the road. You went in groups. And guess what you carried with you? A sword, a spear, a bow, something, okay? Because it was dangerous. The world is filled with evil then, It's still filled with. I don't have a. This doesn't scare me, folks. Okay, it's just saying be careful. There are some very scary, dangerous people around us. Pay attention. Be wise. Be prepared. So, and I'm just throwing this up there. I know we're talking about finances. People want to steal from you, okay? It's real. You don't go out into the dark parking lot after work or from shopping, if anybody even goes to stores anymore, okay? You don't walk out in that dark parking lot by yourself. Like I've said, if you're at work and you look out there and the parking lot's dark and you need to leave the hospital or something and go out to the parking lot, and if you're downtown at Parkland or something, it's like a mile away or something, call security. They live for the chance to escort you out there and be the hero. They're looking for something to do. They're so bored walking around looking at video and stuff. Call them. This is a good day. Be wise. You don't walk past the dark alley. Teresa and I were in Dallas a month or so ago celebrating anniversary. We went to a game. We're walking back from the game. It's an afternoon game, and we ate at a restaurant, and we're walking back to where we're staying, and I'm thinking, okay, let's cut through right here, and I turn, and there's a fella he's just having a total meltdown. Looks like a homeless fella, and he's screaming at everybody. He looks way down at me. What do you want? Come on, fight me now, fight me now. You know what I did? I went to the next street. I know that was the shortest way, but that was just stupid to walk down there. He was having a bad moment, and I'm not prepared to deal with it standing there with my wife. And I feel bad for him. I do up a prayer for him. But there's nothing I can do for him right now, but I can protect my wife and myself. Pay attention. Don't go to the store at 2 in the morning. Okay? I don't leave my garage door open if I'm not in there. Why? Because I'm on kind of a major drive-through in our community. Okay? Now, it's like good news, bad news. Bad news is if I'm cutting the grass in the front, somebody may be stealing something out of my garage in the back. The good news is I can set anything out of the alley and it's gone within 2 hours. Broken trash dispenser, trash compactor, gone. Old water heater, just gone. I'm sure it was probably disposed of properly. I don't know. It just goes away, okay? Somebody scrapped it, all right? So I just write free on it, doesn't work. Full disclosure, there you go. Be wise. Pay attention. Be wise, be smart, be savvy. Why don't we see if we can find a wise, smart, and savvy? We can get off the sword slide there. We'll let him throw that up there for us. Now, I'm going to talk about scams and frauds today just to kind of apply this a little bit, okay? Now, where do you not put your passwords? On a sticky note by your laptop. I've lost track of how many crime scenes I've worked where their password is on a sticky note, just right by it or under it or in the drawer, or it's just not hard. Where do you not put the pin to your debit card? On the card. Because when someone steals it, and the bank's going to have a real problem with you trying to refund your money if they used your PIN. Because how could they possibly get your PIN? Because nobody's dumb enough to write it on their card. But me or you or whoever, right? You weren't hacked. Your computer was not hacked. Your phone was not hacked. Please quit telling the police you're hacked. What are you, in the NSA, the CIA or something? Who would care about hacking your stuff? Nobody. You opened it for somebody. You gave them permission. You clicked the link and filed in. You did it is what happens. So don't. The basic rule of thumb for me is if someone else initiates the contact, think scam. Period. It's a scam. Now, if I call the credit card company number on my card to ask them about something, okay, well, tell them the number because I'm calling them. I mean, I initiated that. Think scam. Little Jimmy in jail in wherever, leave him. He needs to learn his lesson. I know it's your nephew. There have been a few recordings of these kind of calls, and they give, hello, Mrs. So-and-so. Hey, this is officer, sheriff, deputy, whatever, in whatever land, and your nephew is in jail right now. Asked me to call you. Little Jimmy? He said his name was Little Jimmy. And, and then you send him $200 in gift cards or something. Like a city needs a gift card? And Bill Gates doesn't need gift cards. People send it to him all the time. That's not who's asking for them, okay? And so, but they knew little Jimmy's name. It had to be him. No, they scammed you. And they're good at it. If you try it 1,000 times a day, you're going to get good at it in a few weeks, right? So think scam. People want to take your stuff. Um, don't reroute a payment. Hey, we changed our account. We need you to reroute this, especially at your business. Look at that request real close. Now, why in the world would that company, our vendor, want to pay somewhere else today, our usual account? Look at it close. First off, you need to make a phone call, and don't call the number on the scam. I've done it for 15 years, okay? Call your boss. Call accounting. Tell them not to call the number on the scam. Call the number you already have for the company. And if you look at it, usually the email address will have something like, instead of an I, it'll have a 1. Okay, or instead of a O, it'll be a 0. Something changed, and they're conning you. And the money doesn't come back. It's gone so fast. Look at emails and texts. If it's odd, if it's unexpected, if the grammar doesn't look right, wow, it doesn't look like English is their first language. Well, it's probably Eastern European or Nigerian or something where we get a lot of these scams out of. All right? Never give out info. Just don't. No police department, government, business, bank will call you asking for your info. And by the way, if they say you have a ticket, do you have a ticket? I mean, you'd know if you had a ticket, right? Did you take care of your ticket? Then it's taken care of. Did you not take care of it? Well, then you probably want it. Call that department, deal with it. But, oh, they said I had a ticket and I needed to pay $400. Do you remember a traffic stop with a police officer? No. I can't explain it anymore. I just take the reports. Your provider, Apple, Microsoft, anybody, nobody's monitoring your computer or your phone for a security break. Hey, we just saw there's a security break on your iPad. Thank you so much, Microsoft. They don't care about you. Are you kidding me? Why would they be monitoring your deal? Oh, yeah, well, we just got to make sure. So give me your bank account number and your entries so we can make sure and transfer those funds to someone safe. Real deal. Get one of these a month. People want to steal. And if it's your last dime and that's what you're living on in retirement, and you probably will die within a year and a half or so because you're so upset and depressed, they don't care. Nobody legitimately needs gift cards. No, you're not getting a giant tax refund. You didn't win anything that you got to pay your taxes on that way. Nobody sends you a real check for thousands of dollars over what you really needed by mistake. Okay? Yeah, they bought my car for $15,000, and then they sent me 20 and said, "Oh, I'm so sorry. Keep another 1,000 just for the trouble and send me 4." So you deposited $20,000, you send them $4,000, it bounces in 5 days, and then your bank says you're out $4,000. All the time. The job online is probably not real if you don't have a real connection to that business. And when they send you $5,000 to buy your computer and they overspent and send money back, guess what happens again? Whatever you sent back is going to be on you. Any local sale, eBay, Nextdoor, whatever call you want to go, all those can go bad. So be careful. Only use the vendor payment methods. If you're selling on eBay Motors, apparently it works fine as long as you pay through eBay Motors, you got some protection. But a lot of times they'll send you a link to pay because it's easier and saves finances. And you're just going to give money away again, or a car. Why would someone send some stranger to transport your vehicle you sold and a big check? They're not. And if you look at some ad and say, man, there's a classic, whatever you think's a classic, Camaro, Firebird, Bronco, truck, whatever it is, for half the price of what they're running right now, and you want to buy that? It's just a photo. You're not buying anything. And I'm sorry that you got to be at least a little bit paranoid because there's so many thieves. A couple more. Let's see. Oh, here, I think I have $1 here. How to spot a counterfeit. Say, well, I'll just pay you cash. See what I got. I actually have a 50. Wow. Story on Teresa this week. So she went to Starbucks to get a sandwich, heading down to play with the Grandboys, and she handed them cash. Not so she wouldn't use her credit card, just hand them cash. And they didn't have change for a 50. Says, can you get me 20s? Yeah, well, get you 20. So, okay, somebody wants to pay you for something you're selling. How to tell if it's a counterfeit? It's really not hard. First, just feel the paper. If it doesn't feel like a real one, it's fake. Secret Service, you take them 100 bills and they're going through them real quick because we dealt with the case. We found a suspect, didn't find a suspect, whatever. Then we turn them all over to the Secret Service. The agent that I'm turning the money over to will just start pulling them out one at a time. Fake, fake, fake. Hey, this one might be real, dude. Okay? So, feel it. Next. Counterfeits are not printed on some press somewhere overseas anymore where they're smashed. These are smashed on a piece of paper. There's a block with the imprint, and it smashes it with ink, right? They're printed on laser printers. So if you look at maybe the texture of the coat on the president here, and kind of scratch it, I can feel the ridges. You can hear it. Okay? If it's smooth, it's fake. They also can't get it super distinct. Look real close. Get your iPhone magnifier out, okay? And look at the eyeball. Is it distinct? Is the signature of the treasurer real distinct and clear? If it's not, guess what? It's fake. All right? So check those bills. And while you're checking the bills, that probably thinks, well, what if they're a thief and they catch me checking the bills? Well, why were you checking bills somewhere unsafe? How about meet out front of the police department? Sure, I'll sell it. I'll meet you in front of the police department. There's a camera. Hi, Joe. How you doing, buddy? How's your how's your beat today? All right? And then check those bills. And if it's counterfeit, just hand it to the police officer and introduce them. Pay attention. Be wise. Be smart. Be savvy. But now also the life of a thief. That homeless fella I did throw up a prayer for, I have prayed for him since then. Because that was kind of dramatic. And he's that far gone. And whether he takes meds or not, it's just so difficult for him. His life's miserable. And the lives of most thieves today they're addicts. And every day is a nightmare. You need a hit of whatever drugs you need. You need some fast food. You need a place to crash. Every single stinking day is just trying to survive until the drugs wear off and get another one and find some kind of food to eat. They'll even counterfeit dollar bills. First time I found it, I said, Secret Service, why do I have a bunch of dollar bills? They're using them in vending machines, trying to get some food. That's a prayer. Folks who are addicted, it's a terrible, terrible life. And support organizations like Salvation Army and Christian Community Action. Support them. Try to help, okay? Because they're trying to reach out to families to help them get clean, get a place to live, get a job going, deal with the stress and the anxiety and whatever mental health issues are going on. It's just I don't hate them. I'm tired of the theft, but I just feel and lift in prayer the thieves, okay? Now, some are professional. They're scamming. They're overseas. They're really good at it. The money's gone, and you're never going to see it again. Unless we catch it in about 24 hours or so, and it was really a bank transfer, and I haven't had one of those for years. I can't freeze anything to get the court paperwork later. Let's talk for just a moment about crypto. Why would I use crypto if I'm doing something legal? But you can triple your money. Probably not. Careful. If you're going to use crypto, you make sure you can afford to lose it because it can go in a heartbeat. It can disappear in a flash. Just be careful. And if someone tells you to send that $400 to get Jimmy out of jail by buying Bitcoin and put it into the Bitcoin ATMs they have now, within seconds, literally it's milliseconds, the money, that $400 you dropped in, will go to the account you sent it. It will be farmed to about 100 different crypto accounts all around the world in a millisecond. They will take a tiny percent of it and then ship the rest off somewhere we'll never find. You've heard of washing the money through like a laundromat or a restaurant or something, right? The mob would do that. Well, that's how you wash crypto. And you can't track it. It's just gone. The feds can't help us. It's just gone. So just remember, do you really think you're going to get 200% return or 50 or 30? Come on. Be reasonable. If you're going to dip your toe into crypto, figure out what you're doing and don't be unreasonable with your expectations or what you can afford to lose. We get a ton of scams on that. So protect your finances. Uh, you want them to serve you and your family and to serve others. The last point, don't be your own thief. Seriously. We steal from ourselves more than anybody steals from us. We steal from ourselves through our own greed. I want it, I really can't afford it. I'm going to get it on debt, and I can't afford it. All right, if you got a $10,000 credit card balance right now, this year you will pay, if we use our 24%, Pastor Eric told us about, you'll pay $2,400 for the privilege of having that in your credit card balance. $2,400 because of our decisions. Okay? Come to that financial class. Get some help. Let's help you figure out how not to live with this credit. But we steal from ourselves more than we do anything else because of our own greed, our overspending, lack of understanding. We don't recognize how dangerous the debt is. Okay? Pay attention to that. And let's talk about co-signing. To me, if you're going to co-sign, just sign it. Honestly, it's just your debt. And if they pay, wonderful. Just know, when you co-sign, it's like you sign. And I've had some friends over the years who co-signed for their children, and then they wound up selling their homes because they had to pay it all back after retirement. And their kids just couldn't. Well, I love my kids too, but let's talk about it. Do you need a student loan? No. Honestly, you don't. You can work. If you can't afford to go to the school you want to go to, for whatever reason, well, pick a different school. Seriously. Save more. Work more. Careful. If your family has dedicated money and they're able to send you to school now, to the students and young folks, if your family has made that a part of their family priorities and budgets to help you go to college, then treat it like the blessing it is. That is amazing, and it's so much money. And work hard at school and get good grades and do the best you can, because school's not easy. And if you're able to do it and be blessed in that way, that is such a privilege. Thank them for it and honor it with your work in that, okay? And that's wonderful. I'm not saying what to do. That's between you and your family and your kids and what's best. But just recognize this school loan thing is all out of perspective, right? So keep it all in perspective with money in one more way. Recognize who blesses us with the abilities to work and be blessed with funds. And that's God. And the first thing you do is in the Old Testament all the way through. Bless God with your first fruits. Whatever is your first fruits. If it's the harvest, you give a 10%, was the old tithe. If it's your paycheck, you give it. You say, God, thank you for this. I'm going to return the top of this back to you as just in gratitude that you let me have a job and have the ability and the support system, and I can earn this, and I want to thank you. And you use it however you want. And here at the church, we bless others, and we teach others, we raise our kids, and we send it out, and we bless those who are in homeless and hospitals and missions, and it just goes to other people. So remember who blessed you and return it. So don't be lazy. Work and discipline. And again, if there's an area that's hard for you, or hard for your children or your parents, whatever it is, then the responsibilities don't go away. Find ways to work it, okay? Find ways to have accountability and support and counsel as you make it through life every day, and help your children do that. Now, I was never taught finances as a kid. Never really came up, Teresa and I had to kind of stumble through it over the years. Some of it we learned the hard way and had some credit card debt, and we got out of it. But you can always change a family tree by teaching your children. Now, it's their choice now. It's their deal. And I've noticed my children are already working on their retirements. And they are scared to death of debt. So we're trying to help them change things. So there's a message from the pulpit on finances. Don't be your own thief. Don't let others steal. Help our children be responsible and learn. Admit our limitations. Now, that's a bunch, so I thought I'd end with a happier verse. John 10:10. Jesus says, "The thief comes only to steal and kill and destroy." Folks, that is not just a proverb. They do. I'm sorry. Jesus comes that we may have life and have it to the full. With Christ, whatever difficulties we go through, however well we do it, we always have our peace in Christ and His wisdom and His strength, and together we can figure it out. Just apply it. As we struggle through this dangerous world with all that comes our way until the day we don't have to. And then we're in glory. Father, thank you so much for just always being there for us and for being honest about this choice you gave humanity. Some don't choose well. Some choose evil. And as we struggle through, may we trust you, depend on you, follow your wisdom, allow your strength to lift us. We ask that you help us see others through your eyes and pray for those who don't get it, who are controlled by the evil, that they can discover the light and we can show your love to them. In Christ's name.